Okay guys, welcome back to Old World Wednesday. In today's video, I'm just going to talk you through some of my thoughts and plans for the Old World moving forward and some of the struggles that I've been dealing with the Old World for the last couple of months. So as you guys know, on this channel, we started this off as a breakaway from the Mediocre Hobbies channel to focus solely for the Old World as a game system. And for some reason, when I decided to do this, it began a 6-month drought for Old World content from Games Workshop, and some enthusiasm definitely went a little bit downhill. And some factors I think which happened with that was, for me anyway, mainly was the big update to the rules. So obviously this was the book that was launched originally. This came with, you know, your Bretonnian army box or whatever. And I learned this rule book. I went to a tournament with this. I went to 2 tournaments with this rule book. I won the first one and I won 4 out of my 5 games in the second one. So I did particularly well. And me and my Bretonnians were smashing our way through the Old World, just having a great time. And I felt really confident with the rules, comfortable. And I'd like someone to game and stuff like that. I was totally up for it. And then along came this giant big update of rules, which changed half of the rule book, and it would never be clear. Like, I would be holding this rule book and flicking through, and I didn't know which rules in this book were currently accurate and which ones had been FAQ'd or errated, and that drove me absolutely insane. I hate that. I hate when they do that. And considering that they changed the rule book so much and then continue to sell this rule book for like another 6 months, considering it was all incorrect information, to me is pretty insane. But we move on. That stopped me. That was really irritating. The community as a whole seemed to stall a little bit. No one really knew what they wanted from content. But yeah, now we've turned over a new leaf. Games Workshop has launched a new starter box set containing new Warriors of Chaos and new Cathay miniatures. I know the Cathay aren't exactly new, but they're new. Absolutely stellar collection of stuff. And the new 1.5 rulebook or whatever they call it, which basically just has all those updates in it. And that's the kind of thing that I want Games Workshop to do. I know it seems ridiculous and I know it's expensive and, you know, a lot of people don't want that, but if they're going to change a bunch of rules in a rulebook, I'd rather they not continue to keep selling the rulebook that has the outdated rules and just put out 1.5. So at least everyone that buys the rulebook after that will get the proper rules, and anyone that has the older rules has the opportunity to go and purchase another book. I know it's expensive and silly, but they would at least have the option. Now, I would do it every time, so I get to go to a game with this and to know exactly what I'm doing, what the rules are, and how I can play the game. So big thumbs up for that. Now, that starter box set itself is a funny one because I do not want any more Cathay. I already have the full amount of miniatures that I'm ever going to need for Cathay, unless I decide to do a second balloon, but I don't see that anywhere in the near future. And my Warriors of Chaos, I already converted all of the awesome Age of Sigmar Chaos models to a fantasy army last year. I've got all the old, like, new Age of Sigmar Knights on square bases, all the new Warriors of Chaos on square. They look incredible. So I don't exactly need any of the Warriors of Chaos. So I think I'm going to give the rulebook or the starter box a miss. I'm just going to stick with the new rulebook and then that new book that came out for battle companies or whatever they call it, the smaller way of playing the game. So yeah, I'm excited to now finally get back to and start playing the game again. Okay, so moving on from that and going on to the Old World content. Like I said, because we've been in a bit of a hobby drought, every week this has been the hardest video to make because I genuinely don't know what you as a community want to see when it comes to content in the Old World. I've basically just been picking something off my shelves, and you can have a troll this week, you can have a wood elf, you can have Glade Warrior this week, you can have a dwarf ranger, you know what I mean? Just random, no structure, no nothing. And I'm not sure if that's what you guys want, or is there any specific format that you guys want? I do ask in the comments of every video if you want to let me know what you want to see. I never really get a lot back from that, so please do take it to heart when I ask you guys something to put in the comments. If you do have something you want to see, don't be shy, do ask for it. What I think I'm going to do moving forward is try a little bit more structure with the Old World and a little bit more kind of consistency. And by that, I mean, I think I'm just going to go for army projects for the rest of this year. And my plan is to just do, like, pick an Old World army that I want to focus on. And every week you'll get an updated video on how that army is going, what I've painted that week, what I've added to it, and then a video on, you know, me painting a character from that army, or me painting 5 models from a rank of that army, or a war machine, or a monster, or whatever, and just follow that all the way through. So you're basically coming on a journey with me from getting the army built and sprayed to having it fully painted and starting to play my first few games with it, all in the space of like 3 months of content on the Old World channel. Does that sound like something that would interest you guys, something you'd like to follow along with? Like I said, let me know in the comments below. That will make this super helpful for me. Now, with that new structure, I obviously have to decide what I want my first army to be, what I want to focus on. And I've got a couple of ideas in my head of what I would like to do. And you can let me know which ones I should start with. So basically, the couple of ideas I have, and they're mostly Legends choices, which I know is kind of weird, but it's just a bunch of Legends forces that I really want to get armies up and running for. I don't think any of them will be Legends forever. I think they'll all eventually get bled back into the Old World as a full range release and full books and all that kind of stuff. So I have Ogres, because Ogres were my first Old World army ever, and I would be really excited to get those guys kind of tidied up. I'm obviously a lot better painted than I was back then. Get those models cleaned up and rebased, ready to be used. Obviously, I painted up a couple of man-eaters for videos a couple of weeks ago, with the pirate and the ninja painted up. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. The other thing I was thinking about is I could finally do my Eshin Skaven army. I've always wanted to do the full-on assassins. Obviously, with the Age of Sigmar releases, we've gotten new plastic gutter runners, new plastic knight runners, and new plastic death killer, death something, assassin, death lord. Can't remember what the Lord level assassin is called now. But basically, as many assassins, Lord level assassins, gutter runners, knight runners, a few blocks of Skaven, and then some other bits and pieces to make an Eshin themed Skaven army. It's, like I said, it's something that I've always wanted. I've never had the opportunity to do, and I would just kind of relish the idea of kind of getting stuck into that as a project. As goes current continuous armies I'm doing, obviously I've got my Dogs of War army and my Cathay army, which are on the go. They're both painted the same. They're both the same orange and black scheme that I'm just kind of bleeding in kind of back and forth. I just think the scheme looks great on both, so I'm not apologizing for painting two armies exactly the same way. So either those two would work, and then obviously I've got Beastmen and Wood Elves, which are kind of always rattling around in the back of my brain. So it's that 6 options for the kind of the entire range. There's not a lot of armies left out, to be honest, but please let me know if any of those sparks your interest. Any of those you're like, I would really like to see your journey tidying up your old Empire, your old Ogre army, or you want to see you do a Skaven army, or you want me to see me doing a Nuln Empire army, lots of handgunners and steam tanks and cannon batteries and stuff like that. Let me know, and I will kind of organize something and get the first video ready for you guys for next week. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me ranting. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, as always. That makes a big difference. And obviously, if you want to continue and help support the channel, there's links to Patreon down below. Anyone who's attached to the Patreon gets a bunch of different benefits. You get access to a private Discord server, you get access to extra videos, podcast episodes, and we do our monthly giveaways. This month we're giving away a Spearhead or Combat Patrol box of your choice. That also now extends to the new Old World box sets as well that they just announced 2 days ago. So if you want to be with a chance of winning any of those box sets, like I said, linked down below. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end. I'll see you in the next video.